If I asked you to picture a wealthy person, what do you see? A mansion? A sports car? A designer suit? Wrong. Every single one of those images is wrong because everything you just pictured isn't wealth. It's spending. And spending is literally the opposite of wealth. This is chapter 9 of The Psychology of Money Wealth is what you don't see. In chapter 9, Morgan says, the expensive stuff isn't even wealth. It's the absence of wealth. Here's his argument, and it's airtight. When you see someone driving a $300,000 car, the one thing you know for certain is that they have $300,000 less than they did before they bought it. That car isn't evidence of wealth, it's evidence of spending. Wealth is the money you didn't spend. The Porsche you could have bought but didn't. The first-class ticket you could have afforded but chose not to. The watch you could have worn but kept the money invested instead. Wealth is invisible. That's why it's so hard to understand. And that's why so many people confuse being rich with being wealthy. Morgan makes a critical distinction here. Being rich is about your current income, how much money flows in every month. Being wealthy is about the money you've accumulated, the money that's still there, working for you, growing, compounding, money you haven't touched. A person earning $500,000 a year who spends $490,000 is rich, but they're not wealthy. They have almost nothing saved. One bad year and they're in trouble. A person earning $80,000 a year who has saved and invested $500,000 over a decade is not rich by income standards, but they're wealthy. They have options. They have freedom. They have a financial cushion that can't be taken away by a single bad quarter. Wealth is what you don't see. And that's precisely why people ignore it and chase the visible instead. Let's look at our first story, the athlete trap. One of the most heartbreaking examples of this wealth versus spending comes from professional sports. A study by Sports Illustrated found that 78% of NFL players go broke within 2 years of retirement. These are people who earn millions, sometimes tens of millions of dollars during their careers. And it's not just American football. About 60% of NBA players go broke within 5 years of retiring. Premier League footballers, Olympic athletes, the pattern repeats across every sport. Every country. How is that possible? Because they confused income with wealth. The money came in fast, in huge amounts, and it went out just as fast. Mansions, supercars, entourages, nightclubs. They looked wealthy. They were spending at levels that screamed success. But spending isn't wealth. Spending is the destruction of wealth. And once the paychecks stopped, which they always do for athletes, there was nothing left. No investments, no savings, no compounding, just memories of expensive things and empty bank accounts. The truly rare athlete, the one who retires and stays comfortable forever, is the one you never heard about during their playing career. They drove a normal car. They lived in a reasonable house. They invested quietly. They looked boring while their teammates were flashing cash. And now, 20 years later, the boring one is financially free. And the flashy one is working a regular job, wondering where it all went. Let's look at our second story, the difference between rich and wealthy. Morgan offers a brilliant way to understand this. He says, imagine you see two people. Person A pulls up in a brand new BMW 7 Series, custom rims, tinted windows, brand new suit, expensive sunglasses. Everything about this person screams money. Person B pulls up in a 10-year-old Honda Civic, jeans and a t-shirt, nothing flashy, nothing special. Now I tell you, one of these people has $3 million in investments. The other has $40,000 in debt. Which one is which? You can't tell. That's the point. You literally cannot tell who is wealthy by looking at them because wealth is invisible. It's in bank accounts, brokerage accounts, and retirement funds. It's not parked in the driveway. And here's what's cruel. Our entire culture is built around judging people by what's visible. We respect the BMW. We dismiss the Civic. We hire the person in the expensive suit. We assume the person in jeans is less successful. But the data shows the opposite is often true. The flashiest spenders are frequently the most financially fragile, and the most financially secure people are often invisible. Let me give you a very recent example. Let me show you this playing out in real time with one of the most eye-opening financial stories of recent years. The buy now, pay later trap, how a generation is spending wealth it never built. Over the last 5 years, a financial product has exploded in popularity across the world. Buy now, pay later, or BNPL. Companies like Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, and ClearPay, you've seen them at every online checkout. Pay in 4 easy installments, zero interest, no credit check. By 2024, the global BNPL market was worth over $300 billion. In the UK alone, 1 in 3 adults aged 18 to 34 had used a BNPL service. In Australia, it was even higher. In the US, BNPL transactions grew over 200% between 2021 and 2024. On the surface, it looks harmless. Split your $200 purchase into 4 payments of $50. No big deal, right? But here's what the data reveals. A 2024 study by the UK's Financial Conduct Authority found that over 25% of BNPL users were already behind on at least one payment, not credit card debt, not mortgage debt, debt from splitting a $120 pair of sneakers into 4 payments. A survey by Debt Hammer in the US found that 56% of BNPL users admitted they had used the service to buy things they couldn't actually afford, not things they needed. Things they wanted to appear to be able to afford. And here's where Chapter 9 hits like a sledgehammer. What are people buying with BNPL? Clothes, shoes, electronics, beauty products, fast fashion, things that lose value the moment you open the box, things that end up in the back of a closet within 6 months. They're not building wealth. They're not investing. They're not saving. They're doing the exact opposite. They're going into debt to look like they have wealth they don't actually have. And the cruelest part, the truly wealthy people, the people with actual money in the bank, they pay for everything in full. They don't use BNPL. They don't need to, because they have wealth. Real, invisible, boring, powerful wealth. Morgan raises an uncomfortable truth in this chapter that I want to address head on, because it's something nobody talks about. Building wealth is boring. There, I said it. There's no Instagram post for "I didn't buy anything today." There's no TikTok trend for "I maxed out my retirement account." There's no viral moment for "I kept driving my old car, even though I could afford a new one." The act of building wealth is unglamorous. Nobody will congratulate you for it. Nobody will notice. Nobody will ask, "Hey, did you add to your index fund this month?" It just doesn't happen. And that is why so many people fail at building wealth. Not because they don't earn enough, but because they can't tolerate the invisibility. They can't stand the idea that nobody sees their progress. So they convert their progress into something visible. A car, a vacation, a gadget. And in that moment, the wealth is gone. The discipline required to build wealth is not financial discipline. It's emotional discipline. It's the ability to be okay with nobody seeing what you've built. And if you can master that, if you can be at peace with invisible wealth, you will build more of it than you ever imagined possible. This chapter made me rethink how I define successful people. I used to walk into a room and mentally rank people by what they were wearing, what phone they had, what car they mentioned. That was my scoreboard. After this chapter, I started seeing things completely differently. Now, when I see someone dressed simply, living modestly, not talking about money, I wonder if they're sitting on a portfolio that would shock me. I wonder if they have a freedom fund that lets them walk away from anything they don't like. I wonder if they wake up every morning with zero financial stress. And when I see someone flashing luxury, I wonder the opposite. I wonder if they're one paycheck away from collapse. I wonder if the suit is financed. I wonder if the car is leased. I don't know the answers. That's the point. Wealth is invisible, but now I at least know to ask the right questions and to stop assuming that what I see is the full story. And for my own life, I've started finding a strange kind of pride in the invisible. Pride in my savings rate. Pride in not upgrading my phone this year. Pride in the investments I've made that nobody knows about. It's a quiet pride, but it's real, and it's growing. There are 3 takeaways from this chapter. First, track your net worth, not your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is what you spend. Your net worth is what you keep. Start tracking what you own minus what you owe, and watch that number grow. That's the real scoreboard, not your wardrobe, not your apartment, the number nobody else can see. Second, delete the desire to show your wealth. Every time you feel the urge to buy something just to show people you can afford it and pause, Remember, they won't admire you. They'll admire the thing, and then they'll forget about it in 5 minutes. Save the money, let it compound. In 10 years, that boring decision will give you more freedom than any purchase ever could. Third, find one person you respect who is quietly wealthy. Not internet famous wealthy, not flexing wealthy. Quietly, invisibly wealthy. Study them. How do they live? What do they spend on? What do they not spend on? Model your financial behavior after theirs, not after influencers, celebrities, or the flashiest person in your friend group. The quiet ones know something, the loud ones don't. That's Chapter 9, Wealth is What You Don't See, the chapter that redefines wealth as the opposite of what society tells you it is. In the next video, we're covering Chapter 10, Save Money. And before you say, I already know I should save money, trust me, Morgan's take on saving is unlike anything you've heard before. Like this, if you learned something. Subscribe if you're riding along for this whole series. We're past the halfway mark now, and the best chapters are ahead. And tell me in the comments, what's one example of invisible wealth in your own life? Something you've built that nobody else can see? See you in the next one.